All right. So last question here is from Sydney, Ginger's owner. You were talking about her last time.
Woo, you go. Hello.
All right. Ginger's owner asks, how to give one of your dogs a command, but not the other dog? Do you use their name before the command if you only want one to come and not the other? For an example, say one's name, then no, if you only want to tell one of them no. This is a good question.
It is.
This is a good question because I get asked this pretty frequently, and I don't talk about it enough, and I want people to know my opinion on it. So this is the David the Dog Trainer way of getting your two dogs commands at once.
Is this trademark too?
TM. The David the Dog Trainer way. Okay, so here's the way I look at this, right? Personally, the way I live with my dogs, I cannot think of a single time I've ever needed one dog to do one thing and the other dog to do another, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there are definitely times where I only needed one dog to do something, but in all of those situations, it's never been an issue if the other dogs do it as well. For example, putting if I need to put Vinny's e-collar on, but not the other dogs, and I need to tell him come to put it on, right? It doesn't matter if all three of them come over to me, right? Now, if I only need him to do it, I'm only going to enforce it with him, obviously. But I don't care if he comes and the others stay doing whatever it is that they're doing, right? Other examples, needing one dog to do a bed stay while the other does commands and stuff in the room, right? If I'm going to be training one of the dogs, I don't need the other dogs to not be there because those are real life, everyday distractions I need the dog to work through. Now, you could give me the argument of, well, what if your dog beat your other dogs doing it with the other dog is disruptive to that dog's learning process? Wouldn't you want the other dogs in a bed stay in the corner while you're training that single dog? And it's like, at that point, if my dog is that early in the learning process, those dogs shouldn't even be out altogether while I'm doing it, because no matter what, if I'm doing a bed stay with the other ones in the corner, I'm going to need to interrupt the training process I'm doing with the one dog if they break that command and start trying to interrupt, which is going to take away from the learning process with that dog, right? So they should just be put away at that point.
Yeah.
Right? So personally, I don't give different commands to different dogs like that. Frankly, I want all of my dogs to respond as a unit. Again, we have the exterminator here right now, and Kate has all of the dogs in a bed stay right now, or a down stay right now while they're working around, right? I need all of them to be responsive to just come and down if I ask them to, right? And I'm going to enforce it like a unit because that makes it easier, where if I needed to go through the process of like, Vera, come down, Deli, come down, Vinny, come down, et cetera, that's way more of a pain in the ass for me to do than just teaching everything as a unit. When I'm walking, I need all of the dogs to heel with me, right? Yeah. When I'm stopping, I need all of them to come to a stop with me and get into a stationary position when I ask them to. When I have people come over the house, I need all of them to get on the bed, et cetera, right? Now, the only variation to this, like she had said, is the no marker, right? Say I'm correcting one dog but not the other. And this one's a little bit different, right? Because there's not really a way to distinguish that, like, this marker is exactly for you from a verbal standpoint. Me saying, Vinny, no. Deli, no. Vera, no. They're not going to really make that correlation that this is just for them and not for the other ones. Right? Now, there are times that I'm going to need to correct just one dog at a time, and typically what I'll do is I'll utilize my body language and the way that I'm communicating with them to get that point across effectively, right? So, for example, if I have all of the dogs out, I'm going to do it one of two ways, right? One is if I'm just correcting one of them, I'll be very direct about which one I'm talking to. So say I have 3 people at this table. Let's use it from a human standpoint. I'm correcting you for something, right? I'm not going to be like, Josh, no, right? It's going to be no, right? Where I'm interacting directly with you. There's eye contact made. It's very, very clear. And I'm saying it in a way where you're getting the point that that word is coming from me, but the others aren't phased or affected by that mark because I'm not saying it in a way where it's being geared towards them, right? Or option 2 is, frankly, if I'm correcting one dog for something and the others are all kind of nearby with it, like say they're rushing the door and I need to tell them no for it, even if one dog is the main culprit at that point, I'm going to say it in a way where, like, you all kind of need to chill out a little bit, right? So if I say no, like, just like, No, right? And all of the dogs are kind of like checking in, like, whoa, what's going on? What do we need to be paying attention to right now? It's not really a problem either. I look at this the same as some people will like spell shit out in lessons, right? Where like they're like, oh, I have to spell out walk or like okay or this or that, because if I'm just talking in conversation and my dog's in a bed stay 700 feet away and they hear me say okay in conversation to somebody, they get up. But I said okay, so it's okay. No, we train these dogs to respond not only just to verbals here, but also to very clear direction, right? It's not an excuse if I'm talking to you and I have a dog way back there in a bed stay and I say okay right now, that's a release for them. They should know that. And they should be able to distinguish the difference between that. And we make that association with the dog by enforcing it that way. If I'm just saying it in conversation and you get up on it, I'm going to correct you for it because I need it to be very clear that I'm telling you okay right now. Right? So I look at things that way. When I'm working with multiple dogs, I treat them as a unit. I enforce everything all the same. I don't try to create confusion, especially, listen, here's the thing, especially very early in the training process, or unless you're like a very high level dog trainer. Like I could get away with trying to do those types of things with my dogs because of the level of obedience that I have over them in those situations. And because I know how my body language works and how I can communicate individually with them in an effective manner, 99% of clients out there are not going to be able to do that. Right. And because you're not going to enforce it very strictly, it's not going to be reliable long term, which means it's not even really fair for you to try to enforce it at that point. Because if your dog's not 1,000,000% rock solid with bed, sit, down, come, this, that, and then you start correcting them for responding to it sometimes when you're talking to your other dog, you're going to wind up screwing up all of your commands. Right? And it gets very confusing very fast. So that's the reason why I choose not to do that. I don't want to ever correct my dog for responding to a command in a situation like that where I'm going to decrease the likelihood of them doing that behavior when I'm not going to be consistent about enforcing it anyways. You know?
Gotcha.
So that's the way I've always looked at that kind of stuff. So don't overthink it. It's pretty easy. And then the last question Sydney asked is she sent me a video. She said, she scared the shit out of me when she did this, but why? Is there a way to stop her from doing this behavior? I'm going to play this video real quick because it's kind of funny, and then we'll talk about it for a second.
Oh my loop.
It's actually funny.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. She's telling your annoying puppy to chill out. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. She's laying on her bed, and she got this weird little puppy with a big-ass cone on that's bumping into her and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I would tell that puppy to get the fuck out of my space as well. You know? So here's the thing. There's no people get real scared from the... Here, let me... Can this show in the video? Is that showing?
Yeah, it's showing.
It's showing. Okay. Is it clear enough? Do I need to pull it away or put it closer?
No, you're good.
Okay. You see
Everyone
it enough
can
times
see it.
now? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Everybody gets real up in arms over dogs creating boundaries, whether it's barking or snapping or whatever it may be. That is an effective / appropriate correction, in my opinion. Some dogs have personal space issues, right? Some dogs don't like when other dogs are all willy wonky in their space and bumping into them and all sorts of stuff, especially when you have a dog like Ginger who had a lot of dog issues to start with, right? She didn't really like other dogs. So the fact that that's how she's creating her boundaries with this puppy, A-okay in my book. I would leave it be. I'm sure it's a little startling initially because you're not expecting it. It's like, whoa, what's going on over there? But it's just not a problem, right? I don't have any sort of problem with dogs creating boundaries like that, especially if it's a younger dog and an older dog where the older dog is creating boundaries to the younger dog, and if the younger dog responds to it, frankly, right? That is normal and that is okay, and I have no problem with that, so I wouldn't sweat that a whole lot.